Hello everybody, Flick here, and it's time for yet another Let's Look At, and as you may have already guessed by the fact I'm sitting on a Chocobo, we are looking at Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn, and I'm going to start with a little backstory of my history with the Final Fantasy MMOs. I don't usually try and do this to justify opinions I'm going to give, but I think it's a bit apt here, because not only did I play what SquareEnix call version 1 of Final Fantasy XIV, I was also heavily addicted to Final Fantasy XI for many years. I think I played it for about 6 or 7 in total. I played from day 1 of the US launch, so that's at least 6 years ago. I was actually a fairly well known Final Fantasy XI player as well. I set up my first YouTube channel I set up with a friend called Gunsha Productions, and we did a Final Fantasy XI machinima that I wrote and appeared in, called the How To Chronicles. So if you are an old Final Fantasy XI player and you know of that video, that was me. My character looked practically exactly the same as my character here, so that should also be a bit of confirmation. Hello Chocobo. That's a rather sinister mask you're wearing. Anyway, my point is, I have a long history with Square Enix's Final Fantasy MMOs. Version 1 of Final Fantasy XIV, I will not beat around the bush, was one of the worst things I have ever played. There was nothing to do, no one played it, it was all barren, open. It was just terrible in every sense of the word, apart from, you could say it looked really good. In fact, it looked too good, because you needed a ridiculously good PC. My PC could barely handle it, and it was top of the line when Final Fantasy XIV came out. So they didn't really help themselves. Now Realm Reborn is better in every possible way, and speaking as a long-term Final Fantasy XI player, I can say they've taken all the best aspects of that, and they've also modernised it, because Final Fantasy XI is a very dated MMO, and I don't just mean graphically, I mean in the way it plays as well, the forced teamwork at every single corner, etc. Realm Reborn is far better, so rather than stand still while I carry on talking about the game, I'm going to show a little bit off. I am currently on my Pugilist, which is level 15. That is not my highest class. In fact, if we just go to my stats here and classes, you can see I've been leveling quite a lot of things. My main has been Gladiator, although it is actually now a Paladin. Specializations, or I think it calls it classes. No, sorry, it calls it jobs, like Paladin, which I am, are actually kind of, you don't level them, they level up with your highest level class that they require. So I'll show that as well. I'll start with some basics of how it plays, just in case you're totally new to this style of MMO. Then maybe do a fade out, fade in, and I'll be on my other higher level character in a different area of the game, just to show you how diverse some of the scenery is. It's not as good looking as version 1 of Final Fantasy XIV was, for good reasons, because it has to be able to cope with mid-range PCs as well as a PS3, although it is on PS4 as well, or will be, I should say. I think it still looks good, it just doesn't look amazing, and I'm okay with that in this instance. So we'll get rid of my pet Chocobo there. Eventually, once you get high enough level, your Chocobo can actually join you as a minion in battle in one of 3 roles. I know I'm like kind of getting into the nitty-gritty a bit early here, but there's everything you can do with your Chocobo. You can make it a defender, an attacker, or a healer. So basically the 3 main roles. So in version 1 I will start a fight here, so I'll give you a taste of how much faster combat is. My mistake, let's do that first. How much faster and just generally more fun combat is in version 1, and compared to 11 I would say as well. I would compare it a lot with, like, if you mixed Final Fantasy XI with, say, Guild Wars 2. I think that is actually a perfect description for how it plays now. It's as fast as Guild Wars 2, still has a lot of traditional stuff in it, it has proper quests unlike version 1, still has leave quests and guild leaves and things like that. They're in it as a kind of a backup leveling thing, because I would want it to show off some classes. Oops, he's going to help me kill this one, that's totally fine. I did want to show off some quests, but I have like totally cleared out any pre-30 quest that exists in the game. I've been to all 3 areas, cleared them all out. Just leveling my main class and a few others, because I've got an Arcanist at level 20 something, which is like a prelude to a Summoner. Just heal myself up. Also, a la Guild Wars, a lot of enemies have telegraphed AoE attacks, like there he was about to try and do a headbutt, and it gives you more than enough time to avoid. Generally, because if you do let yourself get hit, you're going to lose, because the dodgeable attacks enemies do are really painful, so it teaches you nice and early. You know, you should avoid these things. So I'm in a fairly busy area as well, so if you notice any kind of FPS drop, it's because there's so many people here. One mistake they have made, you come here around about level 30 as well to do certain quests related to your Grand Company, which I don't want to go into too much, but you get a choice out of 3 when you get to a certain point of the game, and this is the main base for one, and that's why, although this is a level, say, 15-ish, area, you might also see people fighting level 30 odd enemies. Those enemies aren't just spawned on the map, they only appear for the person doing a particular leave quest. So I've been thoroughly enjoying well, that's an understatement really. I've been ridiculously addicted to this since I managed to get into the Phase 4, which was the final beta test. I played it all weekend straight, and I spoke about it a little bit in the most recent podcast, if you want to hear my thoughts and feelings on that. They've had a surprisingly successful launch as well, surprising in the sense that, oh, there's a good thing to talk about, a fate quest just started. A la Guild Wars 2, quests can randomly appear on the map in which anyone around can just join in and have some fun. So this one looks like a bunch of, what are they called again, Amalja have spawned, and we've just to fight them back, I think. Crush the Beastmen, yep, just kill all the things. I'm slightly too low level for this, because it's a level 18 fate, which means my contribution will be penalised because I'm not helping as much as the people who are the proper level. But we'll just jump in here and we'll help these guys. The person next to me is a conjurer, that's the kind of prelude to becoming a white mage. And I cannot even take hate of her. Hate or enmity, depending on what you're used to calling it, for heals is particularly high, I've noticed. It's very hard to tank, which I have been doing with my main class. Because you can do pretty much anything pre-level 20 solo, and then the story quests all kind of get broken up by dungeons which require parties of 4. However, there is a new auto-party feature where it always teams up a tank, a healer, and 2 damage dealers out of any class, and throws you together. And you might think that might not work because of synergy, but it actually does. I've done every dungeon like that. I've done it all through random searching. Twice as a damage dealing role, all the rest as the tank. Obviously being the tank, trying to make a party, it goes a hell of a lot quicker. I would imagine it would be the same if you're a healer as well. Ooh, I don't really want to attack by them, please. Yeah, I can deal out the damage, but I'm not really built for defense currently. Should probably also explain that most of the melee DPS based classes work on the system of combos, so you might see my icons flashing. It's because if I do them in a certain order I get bonuses. Pugilist in particular works towards Greased Lightning, which is a state where they hit a hell of a lot faster. These are almost done, and then I'll possibly switch to my higher level class and show one of the other areas, because the different areas in the game are all very nice looking. I started in the desert city because your starting city is decided upon your very first class you pick. But there's also kind of like one set in forests. Oh, I'm getting aggroed by something. Bring it on. Come on down here. Get down to my level. There is also a semi kind of sub-job system for those of you who are used to Final Fantasy XI, where you have your main class, but then depending on what level it is, you have access to abilities of other classes you've leveled. So I shall show that menu in a second once this git dies. Oh, I dodged an attack, so I get to haymaker him. And he's down. Nope, he's not down. Now he's down. Okay, now just walk away from there in case he respawns. So if we go into... no, that's my character. We go down to abilities and traits here. That's all your basic abilities. Then you have the actions and the levels at which you learn them. There's some hidden because you earn them through doing quests rather than just hitting a particular level. You then also have your job traits, which are set. And then you also have your additionals, and for every 5 levels you get with your main class, you get access to having another ability from another class. So for example, I currently have Protect from the Conjurer tree because I like having Protect on myself, and in the background I'm casting it now. And from the Marauder tree I have Fracture, which is a damage over time, and Foresight, which is a defense buff, because I think that kind of suits my Pugilist, who's kind of all about fast hitting, lots of damage dealing. But I will now do a fade out into another area as my paladin, and I will show you all y'all, turned into American briefly, I must be missing Blighty because that's where he is as I'm recording this, and show you a different area of the game as it turns to night. And we're back. I did a little bit of travelling, by which I mean I just opened up the teleport menu and picked a high level place at random, and also changed class to paladin. So here's what my paladin currently looks like. Please ignore the kind of like butt slapping sword he's using. I don't know why it looks as awful as it does. It reminds me of one from Final Fantasy XI actually that I can't remember the name of. I think this is an area around my level. If not, it might be kind of like late 20s, but that's good enough to show off a little bit of combat with a melee class. What kind of... oh, we've got bombs down there. Level 28, yeah, that'll do me. So we'll open up combat with this one and just chuck my shield at him. He'll come to me. Haven't actually played as my paladin yet. After I... oh, I locked so I get to do my new ability. Just kind of stuns him a little bit. Again, because he's a DPS semi, his is like all based around combos. Oh, he's trying to explode. But he died before he could. Okay, he's probably wanting to kill those for a quest, so I'm not going to disturb him. That's another thing I suppose. Oh, there's a clay golem stuck up there. Etiquette in general has been okay. There's a lot of different kinds of kill quests, I guess, because there's a hunting log where you kill enemies to fill up and you get massive XP bonuses for filling out whole categories, etc. Like, kill those two and you get 11 grand XP bonus. And sometimes it's the same enemies that people need for quests. So generally there is competition, especially at the early stages when everybody's playing in the same levels and whatnot. But it seems okay. I've not run across any kind of rude people yet. People do kind of join in the kills because if they do enough damage, you'll both get credit anyway, so there's no downside. So these enemies are a little bit weak. Trying to explode, I'll stun you and stop that. And then kill him with my paddle. I was trying to think of a nicer word, but no, it's a paddle, that's not a sword. And also, since I am a paladin, where am I going? You equip souls to become different jobs. So say I was a level 30 conjurer, which and I think you also need to be a level 15 arcanist. You would get a white mage crystal, and then you equip that to that slot. So that limits which other jobs I can take abilities from, but I can take more abilities. And I feel a sneeze coming on, so please excuse me. Oh, isn't that terrible? You say you feel a sneeze coming on, and then it hears you waiting for it, and it runs away to strike again at a later date. So I've got Raise, Cure, Protect, because I'm kind of fitting with the Paladin theme of having those spells from Final Fantasy XI, and that's all I have space for at the moment as well. If I wasn't a Paladin, I would have more spaces, because it would be just going by my Warrior's level. Gladiator, sorry. Force of Habit, I mean, even the armour looks like the Warrior from Final Fantasy XI. So I'll just run around and pick a few more fights as I kind of conclude my thoughts. There's also another fate to do over here. Level 27, oh no, it just finished, never mind. But look, that's how many people are taking part in that. There's no harm in that when it's a fate, because everybody kind of is rewarded on their own merits and contributions. And also there's some people riding different mounts. There's a fantastic looking gigantic mech Jacobo mount that I've seen people running around with. I've got no idea how to earn that one, but I want it badly, and I think anybody else who sees it would feel the same way. Oh, you can also have pointless, just for show minions following you around. Nope, that's changing my stance. Where are we? Minions. I currently have a Chigui larva and a wind-up airship. Let's have a wind-up airship following me for no good reason. And I guess we'll pick a fight with the Bane Might. While I say that I'm thoroughly enjoying Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn, I'm annoyed that I'm liking it so much because I really do not have time to be addicted to another MMO after, you know, weaning myself off Final Fantasy XI a few years ago. But that said, I'm still thoroughly enjoying it. Blighty is probably going to be playing it, his brother already is. I continue an attack again. It is following a subscription model, which, you know, it's maybe an archaic way to do MMOs these days. I'm saying that, Elder Scrolls is going to be doing the same thing. If you buy the box, you get your first month free. Also, if you played version 1 of Final Fantasy XIV, like I did, you know, sorry to hear you also fell for that, but you get to play this version totally free. You don't need to buy the box, you can just download it for free, and you get to play for 2 weeks for free before you can decide whether or not you want to take a subscription. It's technically less than the month people would get for buying a fresh box, but you don't have to buy the box, you know, you're still coming out on top. So it's kind of like a good way to forgive SquareEnix for version 1 of Final Fantasy XIV, which on no certain terms was one of the worst things I've ever played. This, however, is one of the best MMOs in recent years I've played. I mean, I played MMOs... what was the last one I played? Old Republic, 2 years ago, before it went free to play. That got boring really fast. This has yet to... oh, that's running back to its spawn point, so it won't be hittable. It will be in a second, though. Come here and say hi to me. So yeah, it gets my thumbs up as long as you have the time to be addicted to an MMO for at least a little while. There's a lot to see and do in the game. I'm sorry I couldn't show off a proper quest. I assure you they are in it. It's just that I have been going looking for all of them because I kind of like, you know, many little storylines. Like I found the Taro, and oh, there's one of those mech things. Let me look how ridiculous that is. The funniest is when you say Taro riding them. Also, I know they're not called Taros, but I played Final Fantasy XI for long enough that it's Taros, Humes, Galkas, and Mithras, not whatever the Aurorsian classes are called, Lalafels and Higher and whatever. Nope, Taros, etc. So, that's going to conclude this Let's Look At. SquareEnix at first didn't allow people to make videos and monetize them, which put off me and a lot of other people who are trying to make a living from YouTube. I know most of you won't care about this, however I would also just point out they have now saw the light, unlike Nintendo, and allowed it as long as you're in the partner programs. So you may see more content, and I would love to get back into doing Final Fantasy content, because if you go back and look at my earliest videos, I mean hell, it's why my channel was called Flick FFXI. I started out doing Final Fantasy 11 videos on my channel and the one I co-made called Winter Productions that I think still exists in the annals of YouTube. So I would really love, from a nostalgia purpose point of view rather, to get back into doing some Final Fantasy content that isn't kind of like rife with spoilers if I was to cover, say, one of the main story-driven games. So yeah, gets a thumbs up in the short term. I don't know if it will still hold my attention months down the line. I kind of hope it doesn't, to be honest, because I get really badly addicted to MMOs. But that was it, and now I guess, since I'm done, I'll just press enter and I will type /dance, and even though I'm poisoned, I'll wait for it to wear off, because that may be the clever thing to do. I will leave you with a jig. That wasn't good enough, do another one. Dance for my pleasure.